What's happening?
What's going on, Steve?
Patrick Mercer. This is Steve Kane with the Neighborhood Connection. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Patrick Mercer. Under 40, top 40, San Diego.
Yep.
Congratulations. I just saw that you were awarded, another award to put on your mantle. I know that you're crushing it down in San Diego, and we really appreciate that, Patrick. And I'm going to talk to you today about business. I know that you're, in a lot of people's eyes in this business, you would be still considered a rookie,
Yeah.
and, even though you grew up with it and it's in your blood, it's in your family, it's in your genes, if you will. But, I know that your name, it sounds, I've been in the business now for 3 or 4 years, just interviewing and being in the video and the music, or in the relationships and the marketing side of the real estate world. And the name Patrick Mercer to me seems like it's been a heck of a lot more than just a couple of years that you've been in the business. But I'll shut up for now and tell us a little bit about your background, Mercer Properties, and what's been happening this year.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Steve, I appreciate the interview, and I appreciate everything you just said. But yeah, I've been in the business about 3.5 years. I'm actually turning 28 this month, this week in a couple of days. So that's exciting.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you, Steve. So yeah, I always knew when I was a little kid that real estate was going to be what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I didn't quite know the path, but I knew real estate was my calling. My father's been in it forever. My mother's been in it forever. I have a twin sister in it. I have a brother-in-law in it. So literally the entire family's in it. Everyone's really completely different roles. My mother and father are principals in real estate, and that's eventually where I want to get to. But the quickest way for me to get there, really, that I saw for me to learn the business, the ins and outs of just the big picture of real estate, was to sell real estate and to start with residential. And really the reason with that was I knew residential, it was kind of turn and burn for me. Where commercial deals, I could spend 5, 6 years, 7 years, a decade nurturing one relationship to see if I get a 300-unit apartment complex.
That didn't excite you as much as turning and burning and getting them in, huh?
Yeah.
You don't seem like that kind of guy that would be. I'm not saying that you're not patient, but it seems to me like there's so much fire in your youth has a lot to do with it. But being able to meet as many people as possible is what would be an asset to Patrick Mercer.
The goal for me is to meet as many people and to get in front of as many people that I can. And and as my sales, bravado gets better as I get older and I'm around more transactions, I'll convert more. And this business is really a domino effect. And I'm really in the midst of that right now because I brought on administrative help, a team member who basically is my go-to. She's amazing. She helps me with my marketing. She helps me with my business planning. She helps me with my day-to-day. She just allows me to basically go out and put people in the funnel. Top of the funnel is people that are kind of cold, and then bottom of the funnel obviously are pendings and closed and past clients. So
I do it all the time, Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know what? That's one thing I've learned is if you're in sales, everyone has a funnel. I don't care what you're selling. Everyone has a funnel, and the best people in any industry, it's how efficient they are getting people from the top to the bottom and having repeat business.
Well, in the last year, I've watched you grow, and I'm very impressed, by your theme and by your dedication and your excitement, and your passion. And anytime I'm around you, I get to see you. You can just see that, a lot of agents that I've met with and interviewed over the last few years, they say that they all have something in common, is that they want to help them. They want to help people. They want to,
Right.
help them with the biggest purchase of their lifetime and make their dreams come true. Not that I don't believe them, but with you, it just comes across to me like this. You're like tunnel vision on helping that, because everybody's unique. and we're going to talk about the neighborhoods and where you really, you really, step on the gas, and the ones that know you by name and they see you in the grocery store or walking down the street, they know who you are. And I know that Kensington and the Talmadge area of Metro San Diego are definitely two of those hot spots for you. And you had mentioned to me the other day that you've got now 6 or 7, for sale signs in the Kensington area. And that to me is just, in this market, with listings as hard as they are to come by, I want to congratulate you for one, and for two, I sincerely congratulate those people that picked you to be their agent, represent them, to not only sell their house, but the others on the other side that are looking to buy a house. I think that they couldn't have got a better guy.
I appreciate that, Steve. I mean, one thing that I can promise everybody is that I will work harder. I will outwork every single agent that I come across. And
I know some good. That's, hey man.
But the agents that are at the top of their game, and the agents that treat it like a business, and that do, that have the pipeline going where, they have 10 actives, or, there's people that have 25, 30, 50 actives, but, the people that have the system going, they didn't get there by sitting, not
Correct.
Coming into the office at 8, 9 a.m. and staying till late, putting in long hours. I mean, those people just don't get there. The people that are the agents that are onesie twosies, I mean, that's fine. Not everybody, has a goal of selling $100 million a year, but, if you're wondering why you're not selling more real estate, you're not putting in the time, and you're not putting your efforts, you don't have a focus of where your business needs to go.
Let's put that in perspective. That's one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, is that what is your schedule and what is your availability?
So, being 27 and not having kids, I'm a single guy. So,
what else do you got to do, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm very career focused right now, because I realize that I'm in a time in my career where if I step on the gas, I can build something where I can take a step away from it earlier on in my life. So, every day is pretty structured. I mean, I'm an early riser. I'm usually up by 5:30. I like quiet mornings. So, I'm in my house drinking coffee, making breakfast, and then typically I'm in the office by 8:30 at the latest.
Yeah, good for you. That's excellent. Something tells me that you would be very accessible, as far as
all the time,
24/7.
24/7.
I've met some others, and God love them. They've probably done what you've already done, and they're a little bit more senior in the real estate world, and have got their track record and have built their book of business and their clientele. They shut their phone off at a certain time, but you're at that stage of your career
where I can't do it.
Yeah, you can't do it. You kind of got to outwork.
I mean,
how competitive the market is. You kind of that's where you're gonna separate yourself from a lot of them.
Hey, there's nothing against agents that do that. I mean, there are agents that absolutely crush it, that have a policy where they don't return phone calls after 6 p.m. and they return them the next day. I totally get that, but where I'm at with my business, I can't afford to do that.
Tell me a little bit about your team. I know that you had mentioned that you've got a gal with your marketing, and she's your right-hand gal, and she helps you with basically everything. Are you looking to grow Mercer Properties and Patrick Mercer and the team and go down?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to grow so the whole brokerage side of Mercer Properties has been around for 30 years.
Okay.
That entity basically just managed my mother and father's properties, and then branched out over the years and started managing other people's portfolios.
Sure.
So I knew when I was 24, I'd gotten out of school. I was getting my license, and once I got my license, I was off to the races. But where was I going with that, Steve?
Well, it's in regards to building a team, and
yes,
how big you want to get, and some of them I see you kind of doing what you got to do right now to grow your clients, sell as many houses as you can, and then kind of maybe take it from there. I see you as a leader in the industry to maybe create a brokerage and be the leader.
I don't really want to grow the brokerage side of things. I don't want to be a manager where I manage agents doing their own business. I want to grow my team, and I want my team to be very lean. So I would like more administrative help where, I continue to be the rainmaker, so to speak. And, will I get to a point where I can replace myself being the rainmaker? I believe so, and I'll get there. But there's some agents that go out there and they bring on buyer agent after buyer agent. Before you know it, they got 15, 20 agents on their team, and they get trapped buying all these leads from Realtor.com, Zillow.com, and they're spending $30,000 a month
just to feed them.
Just to feed them, to keep them hungry, and they're making sure that they're training them in a way. I have no desire to do that. I mean, does that model work for some people, and do some people make millions of dollars doing that? Absolutely. But I would like it to be more personal where, it's myself going on the listing presentations. And then once we get the contracts to put the house on the market, then my team really takes it from there.
Got it. Yeah, I love it. Makes a lot of sense. I think that would probably be the model that I would choose as well if I got on your side. But being in marketing and being in radio and television for 25 years, I've had the chance to interview and talk to a lot of guys like you, a lot of ladies like you, a lot of teams that are at the top of their game, and they're really doing well, and they're very aggressive. Tell me a little bit about, I sell the Neighborhood Connection. I'm the director of sales for the Neighborhood Connection in Orange County, now San Diego, of course, San Diego and Los Angeles County. And I'm actually interviewing you today from Maricopa County and Arizona. And I had 5 meetings in the last 2 days, and they asked me to kind of talk to not only you, but what have I been hearing about, and what are you doing maybe differently in your marketing mind and setting up 2019 because of what we're hearing about the market, and that's a lot. I mean, there's obviously is a big change coming. What does a guy like you do? And be honest with me. You're doing very, very well with the Neighborhood Connection. You actually just doubled it. You got Talmadge now in Kensington, and you've implemented the magazine and all of our digital stuff into your business. But with a little bit of a scare coming, with homeowners and home buyers not really sure what to do. And we know down in San Diego, that the listings they haven't been easy to come by, and they sound like it still isn't going to get any easier. So what do you do to gain market share and continue to
Well, right now, it's funny. That's funny you asked me that, Steve. I'm probably doing the complete opposite that 97% of other agents are doing. Most other agents are hearing the hysteria in the media of, what's going on with the real estate market? Is it going down? So first of all, most agents aren't spending the money that they should be spending. They get a paycheck, then they go on vacation for 2 weeks. I don't do that. I get paychecks, and then I figure out how much of that paycheck I can put back into my business and how little of that cash I can actually live on, so my business continues to run. So, it's all calculated. And now that I have Jennifer on my team, it's so much more strategic. I mean, I'm in coaching as well. I'm a huge Tom Ferry advocate.
Okay. And I was going to ask you about that. I'm going to come back to that.
Yeah, I actually just finished my business plan. So you're asking me what I'm doing moving forward. So I actually just finished my business plan for 2019. And I have all of my marketing done for 2019. So all we do, so my team and I doesn't get bogged down with the day-to-day of having to create the pieces to send out. That's already created. It's just now on a timetable. So Jennifer and I, my next move is getting one buyer's agent, but we already have the entire plan for 2019. Now all we have to do is execute it. We're not going to be guessing throughout the entire year.
Got it. I love it. Hey, I want to talk to you about, this is just a personal kind of a question that I've had is I've interviewed, I've talked to, I've presented Tom Ferry, but Tom Ferry to me was, he's obviously extremely popular, and he is, in the real estate world, and he's a coach. He to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, but he seems to be the guy that's in front of everybody and supplying you with opportunities and ideas and creativity, and he's obviously got his finger on the pulse on the do's and the don'ts.
Yeah.
So that's Tom Ferry. I want you to tell me briefly, if you would. So Tom Ferry's one. Tell me what his philosophy is, and maybe throw somebody else out there that's in his ring that maybe
Yeah.
looked at it a different way. That why you've chosen Tom Ferry's direction.
So when I first got licensed, I didn't work for my parents' brokerage because I knew they couldn't offer me the training that I knew I needed. So I started with Keller Williams, amazing company. Their training's incredible. But then once I was there for a couple of years, I kind of felt like I could go out on my own and I had enough. When I was at Keller Williams, they have a MAPS coaching program. So that was the first time I was introduced into coaching. And coaching is not cheap in real estate, like most things in real estate. But I knew that I didn't need it for the some people need coaching because they need to be motivated.
Yeah, good point.
I'm not in coaching because I need to be motivated and I need somebody
like
to say, hey, have you been making your calls and all this stuff? Because I hold myself accountable.
Yes,
and
sir.
That's great. And that works for everybody. If your coach holds you accountable and makes you do certain things, and hey, I'm all for it. But what I use coaching for really is to look at the big picture. So I talk to my coach every Friday for about 45 minutes. And
your coach is kind of a sergeant of Tom Ferry. Is that how that works?
Yeah. So my coach is a coach for the Tom Ferry organization.
Gotcha.
So he's out of Southern Illinois and completely different market. I mean, his price point is probably 300,000 where my average price point's $1 million.
Sure.
So, but he's a brokerage owner and he crushes it out there. And the logistics of selling real estate and growing the team is the same whether you're selling in Anchorage, Alaska, or you're selling it in sunny San Diego.
Got it.
So every Friday, him and I sit down and we think big picture. We think, hey, my GCI is going to be 500,000 this year. How do we get my GCI to 1.2 million next year? And, we create the plan and make sure that we're executing said plan. And, he's really the catalyst. He was the catalyst behind me hiring my first hire, which was Jennifer, because,
he helped you teach you what you were looking for, maybe?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Because he's been there before. I've never hired anybody. He's hired
very cool.
Many people before. Yeah.
So if I'm a homeowner and I'm selling or I'm buying and I'm watching this, and I'm getting excited because of your passion, because of your youth, because of you're going to outwork 95% of the other ones. You're
right.
going to get. I've noticed and recognized, and I've taught you, and I've seen some of your advertisements and some of your kudos that you sold it in 20% over asking price, and you've got some great stories to tell. But if I'm watching this right now and I'm a homeowner or a home seller and I want to buy or sell, I should say, what does Tom Ferry and that does it mean anything to me? Is there something there? Is there something? It's like, okay, he's drinking that Kool-Aid and he's really taking it seriously and he's working with some of the top producers in the country.
Yeah.
Are they? So they're kind of giving you a little bit of a secret sauce, if you will. Is that fair to say it?
I mean, again, it comes down to, I'd say the first thing's hard work. And for coaching for me, if I'm talking to a homeowner, the Tom Ferry organization is going to help them because it's how I've gotten here today. Yeah. This is how I've gotten my best practices.
Yeah. So they give as well.
It's a piece. It's a piece of my whole offering to a homeowner, right? I have my marketing. I have my neighborhood connection. I have my mailings that go out. I have my letters that go out. And there's all these things, 20, 30 of those. And then, there's the Tom Ferry, which, another thing, a lot of homeowners nowadays, they still choose based on relationships. But at the end of the day, I think that I've won in so many more listing presentations lately, and I only focus on listings. I get buyers as a byproduct of my listing.
Yep. Okay. A lot of
so I don't pay for any buyer leads.
Sure.
But, what I offer sellers, and I think that just me getting in front of them and talking to them, they realize that A, I'm in this for the long haul.
Yep.
And B, I spend money on my business, which means spending money on their business, because their business is selling a house and having an easy transaction and making the most amount of money out of their property. And at the end of the day, if you have an agent that's just putting it in the MLS and they're sitting there and they're praying that the house sells, you know, you're going to be like every onesie twosie agent that sells 4 or 5 houses a year. And it's not going to cut it in this market, because this market is changing, and there's going to be a lot of onesie twosie agents that get out of it because they're going to get crushed, because there's going to be less and less opportunities. There's less transactions happening.
Right.
And I can get in front of the seller and I can say, look, I'm doubling down on my marketing.
Right.
Which means I'm going to double down on the marketing of your house, because every time I get a listing, I expect to get 2 listings off that listing.
Right.
So when most people get, you know, if you have a onesie twosie agent and they get a listing, believe me, they're just sitting at home crossing their fingers at night hoping that thing sells.
That's not who you want representing you.
Exactly. So I throw money on the marketing, on the advertising of their house, which helps them, because I am searching for buyers for their house from my marketing pieces.
Okay.
But that being said, from a business standpoint of my business, that's how I get more business.
Got it.
Because I'm in front of more people.
Yep.
I'm in front of other sellers, and there's other sellers sitting at their house getting a marketing piece from me every 2 weeks. I have 3,500 houses in my farm, and they hear from me once every 2 weeks at a minimum.
Let me talk to you about the farm. I mean, let me talk to you about farming in general. You're a California kid. You're a San Diego kid. You're a Catholic high school, and you're a Chico State, California State University in Chico grad.
That's right.
You're a Southern California kid.
I'll never leave.
And I was just going to ask you that. Is San Diego more to you, I mean, than just home? I mean, your backyard, and like I said earlier, I know who some of those big guys are, the big guys. You know, in the Kensington and the Talmadge and the University Heights and the San Diego metro area, and I know where you sit with them. So all of a sudden you're not only coming up, you're there. You're there, and you're somebody.
Yeah. But I'll never leave San Diego.
San Diego's your deal. So what do we got? It was always a running joke on the radio show about 27. You could get a real estate license in a Cracker Jack box, and there's 27,000 of them. You know. I would it's obvious that with the market changing and it being much more even more competitive than it already is, to get the listings and, you know, to make a little bit of money, like you say, the onesies and the twosies. So in all reality, I mean, it's the cream that runs to the crop right now, you know, because they need to be able to maneuver through the challenges with the market, and they need to be on it full time. You're not, you know, with the neighborhood connection, when I'm interviewing somebody to be an expert for a specific neighborhood, you know, I got to find out from them truly, do they have their finger on the pulse? Are they going to be here today, gone tomorrow? Are they spending money on coaching? Are they building their team? Are they doing whatever they possibly can for the homeowner, for the home seller? And you know, when I first talked to you, your eyes were this big. you had so many ideas. When I have the magazine and I show it to you, most people I gotta give them ideas on what it is and how to use it. You're like, just give me it.
It's a platform for me. That's what it is. It's a platform, and it's an amazing platform if you use it right. And again, at the end of the day, that falls on the agent. That's not up to the neighborhood connection people, which you guys are incredible. I mean, I always tell people that before I had Jennifer on my team, I could create my entire magazine in an hour a month, which was incredible. And that has to do with your team. But the people that make the neighborhood connection work, it's not just the neighborhood connection where you just slap random listings and random content into the magazine and you let it go out and people just sit back and wait for stuff. And I knew that the neighborhood connection was going to be a piece of my puzzle in my farm. And I knew the other pieces were going to be mailers that coincided with that month's magazine. So let's say I have a client that gets the magazine on, January 15th.
Right.
Well, I know February, I'm going to send a letter out that has something to do with what was in the magazine. Or sometimes I send, I have buyers letters to sellers, which, I do. And that's me, fishing for more listings. But another thing that I'm going to do is in the February magazine, I'm going to give a free ad space to my CPA and my financial planner. And I'm going to give them a whole page, and I'm not going to charge him because he already gives me referrals.
Sure.
but I'm going to give him the free space to make him happy, to grow his business. But the biggest thing for me is to help my clientele. And my clientele is every single person that lives in that farm, because there's a lot of people in the farm that I farm, and they always say, you know what, Patrick, someone's going to be carrying me out in a body bag in this house. I said, that's totally fine. And a lot of people say that, but you know what? Circumstances change all the time, and houses sell for a million different reasons. And someone could tell me they're not selling. And then sure enough, I get the phone call. Hey, Patrick, we're moving. I need you to sell my house.
Yeah. No body bag yet.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, a couple more things, Patrick, unless you have anything to add. I mean, I get it that you're hitting your farm, you know, and you're amongst the best, and you're with the brainstorm sessions, and you're doing all the right things. You know, you're working hard. You're out working the other guy. What do you do? Again, a little bit out of curiosity, not being a real estate agent, but I know that you know, you being in the business for 3.5 years, but you had your parents in the properties in the business of 30 years, so there's obviously a database there, you know, of some friends and family and client members and everything else. And what do you do with those clients? How do you stay in contact? Because a lot of people, some of our agents use the magazine to send it to their past clients in their sphere, because it works really well on repeat business and getting referrals. How do you work your database of past and your sphere of friends and family and everybody else that's you want to stay in touch?
I mean, so everybody, everybody at some point gets phone calls from me, but I'll start with past clients. So I would say past clients, I was good because my customer service was impeccable. A lot of times there's problem clients or clients that are more difficult than others, which is fine, because again, we're in a service industry. So I bend over backwards for those people, and those people don't forget that. So that's huge. And then if I continue to follow up with them, that obviously helps me out. But this goes back to kind of the Tom Ferry, the business planning, and getting all of my 2019 out. So my team and I have actually created, I want to say it's probably like a 24 touch system for all past clients. So even a little touch that most people wouldn't think of is when people go and file their taxes in April, all the buyers and sellers that I had from this year in 2018, we're going to print out and send them their HUD's, their HUD statement from the closing, so that they can just hand that over to their CPA. Most of them have to call their agent or call escrow or fumble around and get it. They just get
it from you. Thank you very much.
Exactly. We're going to send them their settlement statement in February, so they're ready to go. And then, I should have the list in front of me. I don't, but we have all these touches that kind of think outside the box that offer value to my clients. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like you said, there's tens of thousands of real estate agents that they can call, but people work with somebody that they can trust and somebody that they know is going to work their ass off for them. Because at the end of the day, we make big checks, but the reason why we make big checks is because it's not easy work. A lot of people get into this business because they think it's easy work, and those are the ones that are out of the industry in 2 years. What's that statistic? It's like 87% of people, 87% of agents are out of the business in 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
That means that they're out of the business for me, the home seller, the home buyer, the home seller. You're following up with me. You're not just selling it to me and going down the road and cashing my check and going on vacation for a couple of weeks. I'm now a client of yours. I've never thought about it like that. I thought that once it's done, it's done. And now thinking about
you're a lifetime client of mine. You're gonna get my holiday card for the rest of time. You're gonna. I did this early on. I have and I actually have a decent following through just email, MailChimp. I send out a newsletter every single month, but my newsletter isn't like every other agent's newsletter where they wake up and they probably forget to do their monthly newsletter for once every 3 months, and they wake up and they go, oh my God, I got to do my newsletter, and they're just pissed because they don't want to do it. I sit down and I strategically
look forward to doing it.
Yeah, because I know that if I do it right, it'll stand out and people will continue to watch it. And that's the easiest way for me to stay in front of my clients. I mean, I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but that, again, that's a piece of the puzzle. Piece of the puzzle.
Gotcha. Well, a lot of people have been talking about, you and I being the best looking guys in real estate.
That's right.
I can't argue with them. It's just,
that's right. I can't
right?
argue with that.
What do you think? Why do you think we're doing this? Screw
right.
radio.
Yeah.
Hey,
we're not radio faces, Steve.
Yeah, I bring that up jokingly, but I was looking at your resume, your past resume, and some of the stuff on you that's written about you, and that you used to work at Nordstrom.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that I'm definitely not the guy that would work at Nordstrom. I would be the guy that needed a guy like you. But
yeah.
I thought, that's very interesting how you are and your personality and the whole Patrick Mercer kind of comes from this. It comes from somewhere, and there's a lot of, with that type of business and with that type of background, with that type of experience in selling. That's not something that's easy to do, and that is taking care of somebody and being a client with them and everything else. And I just thought that kind of poked out at me, and I want you to just
I think when I was a little kid, I was always on a different path, and I've never worked an hourly job. I've never worked a salary job. Right. I've always worked commission.
Right.
And I've always worked jobs, and I've never been someone to get a job and just not know what my next move was. I only took a job if I knew that it was going to get me closer to my next move. And I'll give you a quick story real quick. But when I first got into the business, early kind of 2015, I didn't sell. I worked my ass off 7 days a week. I mean, I tried to prospect, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And it was July, and I hadn't sold. No, excuse me. It was probably June, and I hadn't sold a house yet. So I said, hey, I need more money. So I worked valet at night. So I'd work 7 days a week on real estate, and pretty much 4 or 5 nights a week I'd work nights at valet. And I sold my first house late July of 2015. So it was 7 months. And what ended up happening was my first paycheck was like $1,600. So, I was probably back on rent by a month or two. So I paid that off. And then from July to December, I closed $5 million worth of real estate.
Fantastic.
And the reason that happened was because, again, it was a domino effect.
Sure.
I'd put the hard work in, and then it started showing results. It took months 7 through 12 to start showing results. And then, I stopped working valet, but I never stopped, working hard on my business. And, that's how things continue to go forward, and the momentum keeps moving.
A little bit of old school work ethic in there. I appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. I really do. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you. I like to take a little bit of credit for your success, but I can't.
I owe it all to you, Steve. No, yeah. You have helped me out tremendously. I mean, you took the time to sit down with me, and I mean, I wasn't the only one that came up with some of these ideas to make the neighborhood connection better on my end. I mean, between you and a couple other people, Lee and
Ryan.
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank you, Ryan. I could not, and Kate, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone helped collaborate with me to make my magazine better. And if I ever needed anything, I could call one of you and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I get feedback. And, this thing is, I can always test something from month to month. And if I get a better response, then I keep doing that. If I don't get a good response, then I lay off of it. But, that's one thing that's great about the Neighborhood Connection is it's a platform. And just because you're on a platform like Facebook or Google AdWords or, buying Zillow leads, it's not going to these leads aren't going to converting these leads is not going to just hit you in the face.
Yeah.
You have to creatively think how you're going to execute and convert these leads and then keep them as clients. And there are a lot of people out there doing that, which hats off to them, and they're doing it way more efficiently than me right now. But, as far as the Neighborhood Connection goes, I mean, that's one of my best platforms without a doubt, because it is so consistent. It's so professional that no one else is sending a magazine out.
Well, we hope that
month to month.
We hope that you're a part of it for a long time, Patrick. It's so fun to watch you, watch you grow and watch you help people. And if you're just turning 28 this week, the San Diego Association of Realtors top 40 under 40 years old, I expect you to be on top of that list for at least the next 12 years.
I'm hoping, man. Something's going really sideways if I'm not, but I appreciate that. It means a lot.
All right. Well, hey, again, thank you very much. You're the kind of guy, you're the kind of team, you're the kind of family, you're the kind of expert, that we thrive for, to be on the front of our magazine. And I know once again, you're in Talmadge and you're in Kensington and you're just absolutely crushing it. You real estate agents love to say that, but you sincerely are, and you're helping others. And you're the California kid, you're the San Diego man. And if I tell you what, if I'm buying or selling, if I'm moving my mom out here from Minneapolis to live in San Diego, you're my guy.
That's right. Hey, it means a lot to me, Steve. I appreciate it. Thanks for everything.
Okay, have a great night. And if there's anything else that we can do for you, Patrick, you know my number.
Appreciate it.
All right, see you, buddy.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, bye-bye.